Imagine this. You're trapped in a cave, no idea how you got there. Searching for an exit, you see small holes on the walls. Through the holes, you can see entrances to other caves, each filled with something you desire. One with fancy cars, one with a big pile of gold, and one even has an attractive woman inviting you in. However, you cannot fit through the gaps in the walls, so accepting your fate, you sit and you wait. After a few hours of waiting around, however, the walls start closing in very fast. And just as you're about to be crushed like a Coke can, one of the walls vanishes before you, and a new path appears. Relief washes over you. This must be the path to one of them fantasy caves that you seen earlier. You rush down this new path, only to discover that it leads to another empty cave. Out of all the other amazing caves you could have been pushed into, like the one with hot tubs, cocktails and strippers, you got the empty one. More walls, more holes, same predicament. After multiple days of this, you come to accept your new life as a cave hermit, surviving on mushrooms and insects that you pick off the walls, and occasionally scurrying down a new path that opens itself up to you. Years go by. You're basically Gollum at this point. One morning, whilst talking to yourself like a lunatic, you make a startling discovery. You've had a pickaxe with you the entire time. Yes, that's right, you just had a pickaxe with you the entire time. Observing the pickaxe, you see the word goals written in big letters. Turns out you've been in a big crazy man with a plan metaphor for life.
So what does it all mean? Goals, aka your pickaxe, are the willful creation of a pathway. Instead of waiting for external forces to force you down one path or another, you choose whichever path you like and start swinging your axe. All of your desires are, and always were, easily accessible to you. All you have to do is swing the axe. It's not easy, you will sweat, you will cry, and your arms will begin to feel like wet spaghetti, but eventually you will break through. In other words, goals are your middle finger to the walls of fate. If you don't choose your own path and set your own goals, then someone else will set them for you. And chances are that that person will push you down pathways that benefits them instead of you. Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's the government, or maybe it's Jeff Bezos, who decides that today's goal is to pack 400 Amazon parcels until your spine collapses. What you need to do is to stop waiting for the walls to close in on you and start swinging your pickaxe, because the path to where you want to go is not going to dig itself.
In our last video, we covered purpose. Purpose is the big picture, your guiding force. But you're probably wondering what's the difference between a purpose and goals. Purpose, as represented by this glorious horizon here, guides you forward. Goals are the tiny little stepping stones towards it. Goals are the actions we take to reach the purpose, like write a book, start a business, or stop shouting at children whenever I walk past playgrounds. A purpose without goals is just a wish. And goals without purpose is the reason that your New Year's resolutions die faster than your houseplants. Goals and purpose intertwine to create a beautiful synergy of guaranteed success. Now, before you get too excited and start scribbling down goals that are just self-improvement cliches, we need to perform a short exercise that will ensure that our goals are effective and actually align with the person that you want to become. Otherwise, you may as well be writing a wish list for Santa. So close your eyes for a moment and activate your imagination. In your mind exists an ideal version of you. It's a version of you that's so perfect that it makes regular you look like a Neanderthal. This ideal version of you has been living in your brain, doing push-ups and studying books while you are binging Netflix shows that you don't even like. This person is everything you've ever wanted to be, physically, mentally, and spiritually. Imagine what this person looks like and what they do in their daily life, and how they carry themselves. Now open your eyes and write down clearly all of the characteristics and attributes that you imagined this perfect version of you to have. Now this bit may sound a little bit morbid, but stay with me. Imagine yourself on your deathbed. Not now, obviously. Hopefully you've got some good years left in you. But fast forward to the very end, when you're laying there and reflecting on the life that you've lived. Ask yourself this: what are the things I wish I had done, but I didn't? What are the achievements, the adventures, the risks that you never took? Write those down too. And yes, I know this is the second video where I've dragged you to your imaginary deathbed. No, it's not because I have a weird obsession with seeing you pretend you're dying. It's because visualizing yourself running out of time is one of the most powerful motivational tools in the world. It lights a fire under your ass. We're going to use these two exercises to set goals that will allow you to become the person in your vision, and to make sure that when you're about to enter the pearly gates, you enter as a complete person with no regrets and many stories to tell. The purpose of these methods is to find out precisely what you want out of life and what you expect of yourself. So this is where we finally start to get setting some goals, right? 1! To make sure we achieve our goals, we need to make sure they are smart goals, not your usual dumb goals. The last time you set a goal, it was probably something like, I'm going to get ripped. Fast forward 3 months, and the closest you've come to fitness is buying a yoga mat that you now use to keep pizza grease off of your sofa. Making your goals smart goals gives you a much higher chance of actually achieving them. SMART is an acronym, so let's go through what each letter stands for. Hold off on setting any goals just yet, we'll be doing that after once you know what you're doing. The letter S is for specific. A good goal is never vague. You can't say make lots of money because what even is lots of money? Think what exactly do you want to achieve and how will you do it? Instead of make lots of money, try something like my goal is to steal 10 cars and flip them for 10 grand by the end of March. The letter M is for measurable. If you can't measure progress towards your goal, then how will you know and celebrate? If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. You can't say get in shape because being in shape is a moving target. So instead, make it measurable by saying, I will run a 5k without having to call an ambulance. The letter A is for achievable. Look, I love your enthusiasm, but if your goal is to invent time travel and punch a dinosaur in the face, you're probably setting yourself up for failure and death by T-Rex. Instead, you should be aiming for something you know that is in your reach. They say to shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land upon the stars. But there's no oxygen in space, so again, instant death. So aim high, but not too high. Instead of become a billionaire, say, save £200 a month, and work from there. The letter R is for relative. Here's a brutal truth. Not every goal is worth your time. If your goal isn't relevant to you and your purpose, it's very easy to lose focus and motivation. Think about what's relevant to your actual life. Instead of saying, I want to learn to play the drums because it'll impress Barbara in HR, say, I want to learn how to fix a car so I don't get scammed every time my engine farts. T is for time bound. If your goal doesn't have a deadline, it's just a wish, not a goal. A deadline lights a fire under your butt. Instead of write a novel, say, I will write 1 chapter by the end of January. So let's run for a very quick example. Let's take a rubbish goal, like I want to get rich. Here's how it looks after applying the SMART method. Number 1, make it specific. I will start a side hustle selling custom pet wigs. Number 2, measurable. I'll make £500 in profit by May the 3rd. Achievable. I already know how to make wigs and I own a dog. 4, relevant. I love pets and I love humiliating them with tiny accessories. 5, time bound. By May 1st or I stop buying wool. Congratulations, you've just turned a vague daydream into a clear, actionable goal. And if you fail, at least you'll have an adorable dog in a wig to cheer you up. Make sense? Good. Now you're finally ready to start setting some goals.
Only as high as I reach can I grow. Only as far as I seek can I go. Only as deep as I look can I see. Only as much as I dream can I be.
Setting long-term goals. This step is easy peasy. Write down a list of all of the things that you'd like to achieve in the next few years. If it excites you, write it down. Dream big, but don't completely exit reality. We are going to refine these later, so don't worry too much if they're slightly unrealistic right now. Write all of your long-term goals down like you're building a shopping list for your best life. Once you have an idea of what your long-term goals are, we're going to think of the immediate prerequisites to reaching them. Break your long-term goal down and keep working backwards until it's a tiny speck. If you don't break it down, it will be too overwhelming and you'll quit before you're even started. The reason most people fail to reach their goals is because they don't break it down into smaller steps first.
Let's say that your long-term goal is becoming a hulking mass of muscle like Arnie in his prime. We want to deconstruct this lofty goal into the smallest possible actionable steps. So, let's reverse engineer be as big as Arnie. To be Arnie, you've got to lift weights. To lift weights, you need access to weights. To get access to weights, you need to join a gym or buy home equipment. To join a gym, you need to figure out which gym doesn't cost a kidney. To figure out which gym is best, you need to do some research. So, as you can see, we've broken our goal down into very small, easily achievable steps. Your very first short-term goal is to do some research into the local gyms and find the best fit for you. Now, doesn't that sound a hell of a lot easier than be as big as Arnie? Yet in essence, it's exactly the same thing, you're just making it bite-sized and realistic. Do this with all of your long-term goals. Keep working backwards until you can't go any further. Once you've done this, you should have a massive list of all the steps you need to take to reach your ultimate goals. You should have your long-term goals, some medium-term goals, and lots of short-term goals written down. Now you essentially have a ladder of goals, and every rung is a step on the ladder that you need to take in order to reach your big dream. Imagine if instead of climbing up a ladder, you try to jump straight to the top of it. It's impossible. You have to take the smaller steps to reach the big outcome. There's no shortcut to the top. You must climb every rung on the way. The rungs, of course, are your goals. Each step builds momentum, and before you know it, you're smashing goals left and right instead of giving up before you even started. Now, I want you to divide all of these long-term, medium, and short-term goals into daily goals, monthly goals, and yearly goals, all leading up to your large overall life goals. Think about the time frame in which you can achieve them and organise them like that. Now, I want you to start a checklist. It helps to have some kind of planner, but you can make your own on any old piece of paper. On the first page of your checklist, you should write down all of your short-term, downsized, easily achievable goals that you can start working on right now. Then, going forward, track your progress honestly by filling in the checklist daily and crossing off the goals that you've completed. You must write the goals down and tick them off as you achieve them. It is not effective enough to have them all rattling about in your head. No matter how good you think your memory is, it just doesn't work. Simple as that. Writing it down means that the stakes are real. Plus, you will benefit from the dopamine rush of knowing that you're progressing and getting stuff done when you get to tick them all off. Also, one day when you decide to look back through your checklist of completed goals, it will be an incredible reminder of just how far you've come. Next, you should get a planner or a calendar and write down your midterm and long-term goals on specific dates. Remember that it's important for our goals to be time-bound, so some sort of calendar is vital. If you don't have deadlines for things, then you'll become lazy and unorganised. I know many of you will ignore my pleas for pen and paper only and use a calendar on your phone. It's better than doing nothing, but let me make it clear that this will not be as effective as pen and paper. Phones are too distracting, and you'll forget to check it and keep up with your deadlines. With a calendar on your wall or by your bed, you'll be reminded of these deadlines every time you see it. If you don't set deadlines for your goals, you will become lazy and disorganised, and it's too likely that they will fall away from you. When you go to work or school, your boss or mentor sets you deadlines, and you reach them because it comes from a place of authority. Well, there's no bigger authority in your life than you. Why would you take other people's deadlines seriously, but not your own? You've got it the wrong way round. So set yourself deadlines and hold yourself accountable. The biggest reason that most people never reach their goals is procrastination. When your goals are tiny little ant steps, you have strict deadlines that you hold yourself to, and a purpose that resonates with you deeply, then procrastination will not haunt you anymore. Tell it to do one. Your life and your goals are way too important for wasting time on silly nonsense. As soon as you say to yourself that you will begin tomorrow or later on, then you've already failed, because you're starting with the mindset of a procrastinator. Seize this very moment, right now. You're alive and here, breathing and thinking in this moment, aren't you? So commit your goals to paper and chase them like a greyhound chasing a little ball of fluff. A greyhound wouldn't sit there contemplating the best way to go about catching the rabbit. And if he did, he'd be put down for losing punters' money. A greyhound just does it.
Don't go telling me that a dog has more sense than you. Right now, you may lack discipline. Start following my guide now, get all of your goals down, go and find your purpose in my last video, and then come back later. Because luckily for you, I have a cure for that too. My next video will be a guide on building an iron will, aka becoming disciplined. So make sure you subscribe because you don't want to miss it. There's plenty more of these guides to come and many more exciting projects in the works that are going to completely alter the outcome of your life. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video to anyone you think might find it useful or a bit of a laugh. Thank you once again from the man with a plan.